أن الإنسان لا يخجل من دينه ويقول لا هذا قبل والإسلام لا يدعو إلى هذا. لا، كن قويا في دينك، أظهر دينك. نعم هذا ديني، نعم. الذي لا يرضى أن يعبد الله تبارك وتعالى فإنه يستعبد أو يدفع الجزية أو يدخل في الإسلام أو يقاتل. هذه الأحوال الأربعة أبدا، لا يوجد حال خامس. لذا أول ما يدعى الإنسان يدعى الإسلام، يقال اعبد الله تبارك وتعالى. الله خلقك لتعبده، فإذا قال لا أريد أن أعبد الله تبارك، نقول تعيش في أرض الله ولا تعبده، ادفع الجزية. يقول ولن أدفع الجزية. فإذا رفض أن يعبد الله ورفض أن يدفع الجزية نقول له إذا ما لنا معك إلا القتال، فنقاتله لأجل هذا. فإن قتلناه فهو في النار، وإن أسرناه فهو من السبيل.
Every so often, I go back and forth between arguing with black Christians and black Muslims. Obviously, my page caters to a black audience. Other people will dive in every once in a while, but generally speaking, they stay away. But I find myself getting into it with black Christians and black Muslims. More black Muslims, right? Because, as an African American, there's a lot that gets to be left unsaid, because when I'm talking to black Christians, they know what I'm talking about. All I got to do is look at them, even though I'm not doing that over the internet. But all you got to do is give them the eye, come on, bro. You already know what time it is. You know what I mean? The Ku Klux Klan are Christians. You already know what time it is. You already know that you being a Christian and what the Bible says doesn't have anything to do with these white folks running around here fucking with us and coming with the white supremacy and the racism and thinking that they're superior and everything. You already know what time it is. Okay? America has a track record and a history of racism that is well documented. There is no denying it. It's everywhere. From the politics to the movies, to the history, it's all there, well documented, right? But when I get into it with the black Muslims, they come with the, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Islam is this, Islam is that, right? They always come with that because they're a different culture. They're from a different country, right? Because the majority of African Americans are Christian. But when it comes to the black Muslims, they typically come from Africa. So we're already at odds with each other from a cultural standpoint, right? And then we get into the fighting, they look down on African Americans, right? Even though we're the most imitated black people on the planet, right? They want our coolness, but everything else, the criminality and everything, they run away from that shit, right? Even though they'll be in their own country, talking about, now I'm the captain. But anyway, the part that gets me, right? This is how these Muslim cats just look. They just look ridiculous to me when they go hard in the paint for Islam. Right? Just imagine a world, right? Because I talk about this with Christianity and Islam, right? Like the Vatican is in Europe. Right. And, I know that Christianity doesn't recognize, the Pope, and Catholicism is different. But I'm saying, they got a home base in Europe. Right. Which is the Vatican. And then when it comes to Islam has Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia. Right. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get black Muslims to really understand how ridiculous they look. Right. I just ate. But anyway, to really understand how ridiculous they look, right? So let's imagine, right? Let's imagine that there was a place called Wakanda. We'll just go with that. And Wakanda, did the Killmonger thing and took over the world, just like white people did. Went out there colonizing everything else, right? And so, just like the Arab caliphates, Africa expanded outward and conquered the world. And we forced people to speak our language, we force people to, whatever the dominant language was in Africa. Let's just say it was Igbo, for example. So everybody's got to speak Igbo. Okay, we go around the world. Everybody's got to speak Igbo. The keyboards on your calculator or keyboards on your computer all have like Igbo African symbols. Shit looks like Wakandan characters, right? And this is what everybody uses, right? Igbo is the international language. Everybody's speaking Igbo, right? And you'll see white women with high fashion, and high fashion is to dress like a Nigerian woman at a Nigerian wedding, with the big hat and everything, right? So you got white women in Europe, like when you see these, random white women at weddings and shit like that, right? They dressed in the African attire, right? And that would be everywhere, right? And the religion that they would subscribe to would be some Wakandan religion, and the place that people would go visit for, we'll call it the Wakandan Hajj, would be in Lagos, right? And so people around the world, of all the people that we colonized and forced our, Black Panther religion on, they're all coming and flooding into, Lagos to kiss the paw of the Black Panther statue, right? This is what they're doing, right? And let's say the Wakandan people, right? They have a track record of mistreating the white people that come to Nigeria in the Wakanda, in Lagos to kiss the panther and stuff like that. There's there's colorism. There's movies that have white people as the villain. White people are seen as the villains, and they're committing criminal acts. White people live at the bottom rung of the socioeconomic ladder, right? And they're being mistreated, discriminated against. You know what I mean? The Wakandan police are harassing, the white people. There's white immigrants that come into Wakanda, you know what I mean? And the Wakandan police, let me see your passport. Let me see your passport, right? And they sitting there, they're pulling white people off a bus, got them, straddled up against the wall, right? Just imagine, this entire situation, right? And the white people, they up there, worshiping, the Wakandan religion, right? I mean, none of this Gregorian chant shit, none of this, like none of that shit. That white people don't do that. White people do like the Lion King shit, even though I know that's South African. Right, that's white people, right? That's them singing the Wakandan prayers and shit, right? So it sounds all African and whatnot. And imagine if, I don't know, some Hawaiians, pointed out that the Wakandans were treating white people poorly, right? They were pointing it out. And then the white people went and they put their capes on and they started running around saying, no, they not. The Wakandans treat us just good. Master treat us real good, right? And then they go hard in the paint to defend the Wakandan religion that was forced upon their ancestors, which is why they worship this, Black Panther god, right? Just imagine how ridiculous that looks. But that's exactly how Black Muslims look when it comes to the way that they go hard in the paint and try to defend Islam and defend the Arab world. You're a guest there. The white people in Wakanda would be guests. They're guests there, right? The Wakandans would think of themselves as superior to these visitor white people who come in there. And if they were to complain about anything, well, you can get the fuck out, right? That's what the Wakandans would be saying. You can get the fuck out. But yet somehow black Muslims don't see themselves that way. They don't see the situation that way. How easily, they can, be disrespected. And when they are disrespected, they don't do anything but basically grovel and make excuses and defend the religion that is not indigenous to Africa. Islam it's in Arabic, right? It's written in the Arabic language. And then you have the ethnicity component where the Arab people are the same race as the Prophet Muhammad, right? And so they have all these added things that specifically speak to who they are. Like so not only are they in line with Allah spiritually, they're aligned with Allah, linguistically, they're aligned with Allah racially, right? Because that's who Allah decided to give the message to, right? And then disseminate it around the world. But the Arabs were chosen to disseminate the message. So that makes them special. So once again, you're just a fucking guest. See, you weren't touched like that. But y'all running around, you got these, got the capes on and whatnot. That's how the Wakandans would feel. They would be like, yo, the Black Panther God put the vibranium here, so we special. The Black Panther God put the flower that you eat to get Black Panther powers here, so we special. The Black Panther God could have put it in Europe, but he didn't. Could have put it in the Middle East, but he didn't. Could have put it in Alaska, but he didn't. Right? But the Wakandan Black Panther God put it in Nigeria, right? Or what is now, in this hypothetical situation, Wakanda. So the Nigerian Wakandans, they would feel that like we the shit, we the special. Can't nobody tell us shit. We got this religion. Y'all motherfuckers come in here. You pay us homage and shit like that, right? You pay us the jizya, right? To be in our presence and whatnot, worshiping this religion that has literally nothing to fucking do with you. But because we, raped, pillaged, and plundered our Wakandan way around the world, we forced that on your ancestors, and your ancestors subscribed to it, right? Because, you're descendants of the losers. That's why you worship this shit. Right? And then, gotta throw in yes, and this Wakandan religion only spread peacefully, right? This Wakandan religion, this Black Panther religion, is a religion of peace. Right? Even though, right, we have all these, this is the, have the some Congolese looking ass sword. It won't be the Aladdin sword like the Arabs. No, it'll be a Congolese looking sword. You know what I mean? I like the one that's got like it goes up and then it like splits to 2 points and then it has like a almost like an axe edge at the top. I like that one. That's the fire Congolese sword, right? But in any event, we're going to deny that and we're going to say no. See, what happened was when we went into the Middle East with this Wakandan religion, the Arabs were so amazed, right? And the buttery goodness of this Wakandan vibranium god washed over them. And then they just, whatever they were on, their culture, their language, right? They just tossed that into the fire because, that's everybody's natural reaction to just literally take whatever their culture was before some other group with weapons shows up and a holy book and then forces it on them. So they toss that shit, into the trash bin, and then they adopt the Wakandan language, the Wakandan culture and the Wakandan language. Right. So everybody in Europe, they on some Wakandan shit. When they greet each other, like how the Arabs would be like, Assalamu alaikum. Right now, everybody's doing the Wakandan, arms crossed in the chest when they greet each other. Right. Because we done conquered this bitch. Right. The African Nigerian Wakandans went out there and conquered the rest of the world. So we got white people on Wakandan religion. We got Arab people on Wakandan religion. We got, all of South America on the Wakandan religion. Right. And then, arguably there'll probably still be some other religions out there because we just didn't get over there yet. Right. But just like how Christianity and Islam are like the world's two largest religions. Ain't really much else out there. right? There's small groups and shit like that. But that's what it would be. But imagine if the Wakandans were out here mistreating white people, mistreating Arab people, mistreating, Asian people, right? Even though, right, those people are also, right, Wakandan religious, panther worshippers and shit. They're still getting mistreated. And then when somebody else speaks on it, those same people, the Arabs, the white people, the Asians, they all got their capes out talking about, oh, that's not true. Oh, that's not true. Don't talk about the Wakanda. Don't talk about Wakandan pantherism is a beautiful religion. Even though you can literally show in real time examples of white people being mistreated in Wakanda. That's what you black Muslims look like to me. Like there's no objectivity. There's no thinking like, damn, he's kind of right. They did that is how Islam spread. They did go out there with with this superiority complex. Like y'all completely ignore that shit. And then you come out with the capes and you look foolish. You're still trying to get this acceptance from Arabs that you're never going to get. You're never going to get. I mean, when white people throw around, and I'm not saying one form of racism is better than the other, but when they call black people, what they call us, niggas or negro or whatever, it's based on a color. It came from the Spaniards who said negro, and then the white people couldn't say it, and then it got reduced to nigger, right? But freaking Arabs, they call you by your ancestral position, which is abid or abid for singular. And y'all don't get it. It's in the name. You'll sit there and act like the Arab mistreatment didn't go down, but yet when they see a black person, they call you a slave. I mean, it doesn't get any more direct than that. But yet you up there telling me about the buttery goodness of Allah. You look stupid and foolish. I don't care how you fucking feel about the shit. You look stupid and foolish. And it's unfortunate. I mean, again, I know I speak for a lot of black Muslims who just can't speak because y'all got that the punishment for apostasy is death. Y'all be silencing and killing everybody that has an objection, even if they're making sense. Because y'all so goddamn brainwashed. So there's a whole bunch of black Africans that want to speak on this subject, but they can't because you just can't. You just can't. Same thing with Christianity. Y'all saw what happened. They had that girl at at that school, and they thought she said something about Islam, and they don't, I think, like, beat her to death and burn her to death. All type of stupid shit. You have offended the prophet. Oh, motherfuckers lose their goddamn mind. But that's what y'all look like, man. If y'all look, I mean, it looks ridiculous, doesn't it? If black people took over the world and it was Wakanda was the dominant force on the planet, just like the United States and its military and all that other shit, and black people took over the world with their little, panther claws and their hovercrafts and all that other shit, and white people who are literally being mistreated in Wakanda are coming out with the capes to defend the Black Panther religion and telling you about how the Black Panther religion has nothing to do with how the Wakandans are treating them. I mean, this shit sounds retarded when you say it. It just sounds retarded. But that's what y'all do. That's literally what y'all do. Y'all separate Islam from the Arab people that came up with it, that share the same race as the Prophet Muhammad, share the same language as the Prophet Muhammad. And y'all act like, those two things are separate. They're not one and the same. So we can still preserve this Islam and this Arab religion. We can still keep this and separate it away from the Arab people when Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's like the white people saying, well, we can keep the Black Panther religion while the Black Panther statue is in Wakanda, and we got to go there for the Black Panther Hodge, and the damn holy book that we read is in is in the Wakandan language. I mean, it's like they control you at that point. You can't separate those. You can't separate those two things. Try as you may. I mean, shit. The shit that was it wasn't for you. It wasn't written for you. It was written for the people of the culture in which it came from. And then everything else in terms of expanding the religion, all that's just propaganda to get everybody else to fucking co-sign to make you more pliable to being conquered, to being controlled. And you Negroes don't see this shit. Y'all kill me. Black Muslims, y'all be killing me. And truth be told, it ain't even like the black Muslims from like Senegal or black Muslims from the Nigeria, like the Hausa. They don't come in my comment sections. I don't get into it with them. You know who I get into it with? Them damn Somalis. That's who I get into it with. They got so much to say, and the thing is quiet as is kept, they got the same issue that freaking Fadil has. They got the same issue as Fresh and Fit, Myron, same issue. So confused, stuck between two worlds and two cultures. They're black. Let the Arabs talk to the Arabs. It's so crazy because like they'll look at themselves and they're like, well, we're not black. We're different. We have a slightly different phenotype, right? Then they go over to the Arabs. The Arabs will be like, oh, what is this person? Abid, right? So the Arabs, they know, they look at a Somali, they're like, yeah, that's a black person, right? That's why you don't see them in any of the fashion shows. They all got the bleaching creams and colorism, and you got to have long, straight hair that blows in the wind. That's the definition of beauty in the Arab world. It's not a Somali, right? And then you'll have the Somalis. They feel superior, to black people, and then you have this one directional, this gender-based colorism and featureism, because everybody runs around and they talk about the beauty of, the Somali women, but they don't say anything about the Somali men, going back to Black Hawk Down and calling them skinnies. Ain't nobody running around screaming, oh, gotta get me a Somali man. No, because they think they look like, now I'm the captain. And I know it's ridiculous because, I'm pretty sure there's some handsome ass men, in Somalia. But again, they're not promoted. We don't see them. You see, so again, they got their own level of confusion. Every time I come across black Muslims, they're some of the most, they're like Dominicans, man. I said this in another video. They're like Dominicans. They're just, I know black, Bobby, I know black. They're confused. They're between two worlds, and then they want Arab approval. They want a pat on the head. Then they want white approval. They want pat on the head. Then they want to feel superior to black people because of whatever the Western beauty standards are, and they are a combination of being between Arab and black, because the genes are there. Every time they take a DNA test, the shit will have a big circle around Somalia, a big circle around Yemen, and then it'll be a lighter circle around the center part of Saudi Arabia. Every time they do a DNA test, that shit is just never just 100% Somalia. No, it's always got that Arab blood. It's floating in there because they was trading. Motherfuckers can't keep their dicks. Can't keep their pants in or dicks in their pants. You know what I'm saying? I can't even talk. They can't even keep their dicks in their pants. Anywhere men go, they gonna drop some seeds. That's what they do. A man doesn't have to love a woman or value a woman or appreciate a woman to smash. You know what I mean? And if he gets a chick pregnant, what do? What do we see now? They roll the fuck out. We see this with the Chinese in Uganda. Them motherfuckers go over there and get themselves a freaking Ugandan wife for the time that they're there and pump up a bunch of women full of babies. And then when they're done, they roll the fuck out and go back to China. You know what I mean? White men were doing the same bullshit in Vietnam. They went there, me so horny, me love you long time. Them motherfuckers was there banging prostitutes and then rolled the fuck out. And now you got a whole bunch of Vietnamese babies, war baby. And I think they had like some repatriatization, not too long ago. It was like they were like repatriating them and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's just I don't know why people don't recognize like how like people are people and religions are garbage, and it's just people trying to come up with an explanation, and then the way that people weaponize religion, and my God is better than your God, and this is garbage. All of it is fucking garbage. You know what I mean? Like when you leave human beings to their fucking devices, their own devices, I could argue that there's certain aspects about humanity that is beautiful, and there's just certain aspects about humanity that's just disgusting. I mean, just plain and simple. And it doesn't matter, which group. None of this shit fucking matters. You know what I mean? But, for black people, given our historical position, we see the shit with 100% clarity. Nobody can fool us with this shit. Motherfuckers come through and act like they're levitating above everybody. Like, nah, motherfucker. But, it just kills me the way that people come through and they try to, put on these capes, put on the cape for, other, religions and shit like that. I'm like, it ain't even about that. And then when you get into like the real power dynamic, like, yeah, I can see why, why a white Christian would tell himself, or herself that, God has blessed them and this, that, and the third, because look at their global position, as a collective. But then you have black people, you talk to black people, and I'm like, okay, where is your evidence, that this religion is fucking working for you? And then black people, they go, the dusty route, and they'll sit there and they'll try to tell you, well, the little bit that we have, if it wasn't for God, then we just would have nothing. Like, I'm like, here we go with this shit. Black people sitting around trying to survive. Other groups are worshiping their God, trying to maintain what the fuck they have. Right? They got shit to lose. Black people trying to pray to get some shit. It shouldn't have never made any sense to me. Two men on a battlefield shooting at each other, both of them praying to the same God. You know what I mean? Like, what is one praying harder than the other to make bullets more accurate or less accurate? Nonsense, foolishness. Or what's another example of like a black person that's a slave and they're Christian because of the transatlantic slave trade, and they're praying to be freed. They're praying to escape. Meanwhile, Massa over there in the big house praying for more slaves. But y'all worshiping the same God. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And then on top of that, like when you really look at the shit, like slavery went on for black people for what in America? Like 200, what was it? Like 300 years? I think it was like 255 years, something like that. Right? Plus another 100 years of Jim Crow. Right? And so, like, again, as I always say, you had people who were born slaves and died slaves. They prayed their whole life. They read every page of the Bible inside and out, forwards and backwards, could recite it to you on some blind man Book of Eli type of shit. And they still died a slave. That was their existence. That was their role on planet Earth. To die at 36, of infection, being a fucking slave. That was their existence. And yet people running around, I've seen everything from people praying to pass an exam to people praying, oh, God's going to do this for me, praying to get a job, praying to get, that their parents will buy them a car. I mean, just every fucking thing, which seems insignificant when you got a person that's a slave that is praying to be freed, and God doesn't have the time to answer that shit. But people want to tell me about the power of prayer. Like, come on, bro. Come on. This shit is silly shit. This is childish, sophomoric shit. You know, at the end of and honestly, like humanity's not going to be better until it rids itself of fucking religion. These people that think that oh, if I didn't have religion, I would just be out there killing people. Like, really, really. Like you got to think how twisted somebody's like that. Like that's like a husband that was just like, oh man, if this wedding ring falls off my finger, man, I'm just gonna be in Vegas fucking some bitches. Like really, like you're married, so you're telling me that the only thing that keeps you from running through a bunch of women or trying to pick up prostitutes or something is because the ring is on your finger, and if it just so happens to slip off because your fingers get too soapy. Oh, I was washing the dishes and oh, look at that, my ring is off my finger. I guess I can go out there and cheat. Like you seriously have to question the intelligence of a person that functions like that. And a lot of it is it's not even intelligence. I shouldn't even say that. It's just people just trying to find justifications to do whatever the fuck they want to do. You know what I mean? It's like when we get to single moms, I always look at women crazy when they're like, I'm so glad, I became a single mom and had this baby because, woo, my baby, really calmed me down. Wait a minute. You need to go out there and get pregnant in order to calm the fuck down. Like you need to have a responsibility, irreversible responsibility dumped on you for you to mature and calm down. I'm like, this person's an idiot. Get away from me. Get away from me. But this is like the type of shit that people will say. Again, like I said, if I was God, if I waved the magic wand and make me God, if I wanted to make the world a better place, I could do it just like that. I could do it more effective than God. Because what I would do is I would make heaven known. And actually, no, you know what? There wouldn't even be a heaven. I would just go, when you die, you get reincarnated as somebody else. When you die, you can be reincarnated as anything. You can be reincarnated as a man, a woman, a starving African child. Yes, you're gonna be a starving African child, right? I bet you after that. Wait a minute. You have some white billionaire. Wait a minute. You mean that when I die, I could be reincarnated as an Ethiopian starving child? With the flies crawling on my face. Yup, you could be reincarnated. Oh, they'll fix that shit real quick. There will be no famine. There will be no unemployment. There will be no poverty. Oh, motherfuckers. Yeah, if life was like a game of fucking musical chairs or something, you just got, you could just be, actually musical chairs is not a good example, but if life was just like this game where like you randomly got swapped around on some quantum leap type of shit. Oh yeah, and you knew it. Yep, you could be reincarnated as on some Slumdog Millionaire shit. You could be reincarnated as some impoverished Indian child rummaging through trash in Mumbai. You know what I mean? Oh, that would be the end of that shit. Oh, they figure that shit out. Everybody would figure that out very quickly. They would figure out solutions to shit that right now, oh, we can't make solutions. We can't do that. Right? Oh, all this shit with climate change. Oh, they fixed climate change overnight. They're like, wait a minute. I gotta come back to this bitch. No. We're gonna get these greenhouse gas emissions underneath control, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden we would have, nuclear fission. We would have anti-gravity and hovercrafts. The whole planet would look like Wakanda if people knew that they would come back. But nah, see, we live in this religious world where people are like, fuck it, I'm just trying to get to the afterlife so that I can be in heaven for all of eternity. And so that freaking I can sit on Jesus's lap and Jesus can read me a book like Mother Goose for all of eternity. All of eternity. I mean, just imagine that you live until you're 90 years old. You're an old ass man, right? You ain't taking no crap from nobody. You're mature as fuck, and then you die, and then you go to heaven to be one of them little children that they have on those pictures that they always show with Jesus with all the children, so that you can sit on his lap. You got all your memories and shit. You had grown ass kids. You got 5 great grandkids, all this shit, and you go and die and go to heaven to be a fucking infant for all of eternity, sitting on Jesus's lap. How fucking you can? I mean, like you can't have like an adult conversation, in heaven. And adult conversations, you revolve around problems and shit like that. I had to run this by, one of my religious Christian friends. I had to fuck his whole world up because I just got sick and tired of his Christianity. I'm like, okay, Mr. Split household with 2 sets of children by 2 different women. How the fuck? You explain to me how that shit's gonna work when you die and you go to heaven and all 100 years pass and all of your kids are now in heaven with you. How is that going to work if your daughter's version of heaven is that she wants her biological mother and her biological father to be together in heaven, and then your idea of heaven is for you to be with your current wife, with your current, child that you're with now, your second wife, right? Right? You like, what are you going to do while you're in heaven in your 2 houses? We're going to invite your first daughter over to, your second house. I mean, you can't even do that in the real world. Because he tried, and it was a whole bunch of fucking problems. And I don't blame his first daughter for feeling some type of way, because she has to come over there and watch you freaking raise your second daughter in the manner in which you did not raise her because you were too busy living 3,000 miles away. You know what I'm saying? So like all these people's ideas of heaven is just, they're fucking goofy. You know what I mean? The closest, one of the best representations of an alternative heaven, either that I thought was the most creative in a movie, is What Dreams May Become with Cuba Gooding Jr. That was a good movie. And even how people were different races, but they were a part of the same family. That was some interesting shit. If you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie. I think it's called What Dreams May Come. Let me see if I make sure that the shit is right. What Dreams May Come. Right? What Dreams May Come. It's about Robin Williams and I'm not going to break the whole story down, but Robin Williams, his wife, commits suicide, and then he, fights. He goes into the depths of hell to try to retrieve his wife. It's a very interesting, very, 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 very thought-provoking movie. But anyway, I like I said, I got another video coming. I just, I got a second rant. But I did that one earlier today. But I just sit here thinking, just reading these damn comments and just, these religious people get on my damn nerves, man. But anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video, SWP. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.